Hello everyone, welcome to William in the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Tony. Tony is from Phoenix in Arizona in the USA. So let's see what Tony has to say. Enjoy the interview. So hello Tony, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, William?
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking me. I appreciate that.
So tell me, how's your weekend going so far?
Going great. I'm just having a good one. My wife's birthday was yesterday, so we
Oh,
had the big celebration. I mean, it wasn't a big deal, but we just hung out together and did some shopping and bought some little cupcakes and all that stuff. You know, when you get up there, it's kind of like you've had so many birthdays. I mean, you don't keep doing the big balloons and confetti thing and the surprise parties, you know. So we just kind of hung out, but it's been a really good one so far.
so, so tell me, what was the highlight of her day yesterday, your wife's birthday?
Well, she got to hang out with me. Are you kidding? She got to hang with me? No, I didn't. No, I keep telling her that, but she rolls her eyes every time I say that. She goes, "Yeah, that's it. That was the big deal." I don't know. I think it was just. I think it was the whole day that we just kind of took it mellow, and she got to do some shopping, and we hung out, had breakfast, and then we had a dinner the night before with the family, and the kids came out, and well, I say kids, but they're grown up, and the grandkids and all that came out. So probably, I don't know. We'd have to ask her what the favorite part was.
Oh,
You know.
that's sweet. Very sweet. I think those moments, they are precious. You know what I mean? I think it's a celebration happening. There's a new year starting for sure. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's it, togetherness and hanging out with one another. And, you don't know how long you're on this rock for. So you got to take advantage of those moments. So
Tell me, tell me where you're from, Tony.
I'm from Phoenix, Arizona,
Born and raised?
born and raised. Yes. And I've lived in California for a little while during my teenage years. And then also my parents had moved to Ohio for briefly. They're from Ohio. So we
Right.
moved back there. Yeah, and then my brother was born there, and then they moved away back to Phoenix, and then went to Washington because of my father's job. So Washington State, Ohio, and then California. But most of my life I've been here in Arizona.
What was the biggest joy of growing up in Phoenix, in Arizona, in your opinion?
Um, God, I think the whole thing, and you don't know how hot it is because you just kind of grow up and that it is what it is. But I think all of the times of being able to run out just in shorts, and we'd go jump in the canals and swim, or we would ride our bikes, and we'd jump the fence at the pool and jump in the pool, the public pool area at night, and just go sneak in there and jump off the high dive. Or, we'd go hang at the pool and pay 35 cents or whatever it was to get into the pool and then go swimming. And God, I'm showing my age by saying those numbers. I should keep the prices out of it. Um, but that kind of thing, just a lot of stomping ground of desert area out here, which was cool, for me.
Amazing. Okay, Tony, so let's start the interview talking about your career. I know you are a musician, you are a singer, so tell me how everything started.
I was basically, I think it was mostly just a dreamer in the beginning, and I was getting into junior high, and I started really liking the music that was coming out then, and some of the rock and the metal songs. My first concert was my friend asked me to go to Van Halen, and to a Van Halen concert. It was probably in 80 or 81, I want to say.
Oh,
And so
wow.
they were just hot, man. They were just like at the top, just starting at the top, at the top of the arc. And I saw David Lee Roth jumping around on the stage. Somebody threw a up on the stage and he lit it up. He goes, "Give me a light, man!" And the guy came out with the lighter and lights it up. And he takes the hit and gives it to the guy, the roadie, and the roadie starts walking off. He goes, "Hey, get the fuck back here, man! Give me that!" And yelled at him back. And he's swinging from like a ladder, like Ted Nugent used to do, but he's swinging back and forth, and the girls are going crazy. And I went, "Wow, I've never seen anything like that in my life. I kind of want to be that guy."
Oh,
And then seeing Eddie Van Halen as well up there was just, that whole thing blew me away. So that really got me on the road of listening to music, and probably that was my first spark of like, man, I would like to do something like that.
wow.
And so then I don't remember how old I was, but we went on a trip with my mom. My mother and father were divorced, so my mom went she was with a boyfriend at the time. We went to Mexico, and we were in Arizona. We went across the border, and we're looking at stuff. And I told her I really want to get this stiletto that was there, this knife, you know. And I go, man, I really want that, Mom. I really want it. And she didn't want me to have it. So she said, I don't really feel comfortable with that. And she happened to look up on the wall, and there was a guitar on the wall, an acoustic guitar. She goes, I'll buy you the guitar, and if you leave the stiletto alone, just don't, you know. And I look at that thing, and I went, yeah, okay. So that was my first instrument ever, was like this smaller acoustic guitar that smelled like Elmer's glue. It was kind of a cheap guitar, right? You know, and they're in Nogales. And I brought that home, and that was my first ever just playing a guitar. And I was hooked.
That's amazing. Wow, I love that. I think when you are inspired by some people, you just go for it. Somehow it lights up something about us that you go like, you know what, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there is that thing. Yeah, at a younger age, you're like, you know, and that was it for me. I went, wow, that's cool. And the fact that I could actually play a little bit, and I knew I had a little bit of musical talent because I'd been in gong shows, but I wasn't. It was a gong show when I was little. My mom put me in, and we sang. My brother and I sang, and you know, my whole side of my family on my mom's side, my grandfather would play guitar. He was in a barbershop quartet, and they were going to start touring and stuff, but he had a big family of 7 kids, so he had to work. He wasn't going to make enough money, so he stayed home. But they would make their own records. They would record their own records at the time, and all the family would sing. So I knew there was music in the blood, and you know, that was something that really brought it out of me. You know, and I was like, okay, I can actually play a couple of these Motley Crue songs. You know, playing "Shout at the Devil" on an acoustic guitar, flip my hair around. But yeah, so it was that hooked me. You know, I thought, wow, I might have a chance to actually, you know, be decent at this and have some fun with it.
That's amazing. Okay, Tony, so during the interview, I'm going to explore a bit more about your life and also about your journey so far, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Yeah.
Amazing. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend. Random fun questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song just for us to relax before the first question, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
Amazing. Okay, so during the interview, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay.
Right, first question for you is, what do you consider most romantic?
What do I consider the most romantic? Wow. I think, you know, for me, it's just really a connection between, you know, a person, and, you know, you got to have that deep conversation or touch, you know, it's always good, whether it's holding hands or cuddling or something like that. And, you know, of course, you have to have a decent setting. You can't be on the edge of a volcano and trying to be romantic. So you got to have some kind of a nice setting. But you know, almost anywhere to me is like great, just spending time with somebody that you really like or you really have a connection with. So it's got that energy flow, you know.
Tell me, how did your path and your wife cross for the first time?
We were that's quite a funny story, because I was playing in a band at the time, and I was 23, and I was in a band called Outrage, which was kind of a heavier speed metal band. And her friend, one of her friends from school, was dating the guitarist in the band. Right. So she kept asking my wife, her name is Tammy, and kept asking her to come meet the drummer of the band. The drummer of the band of my band his name was Chuck. And she said, you got to see this guy. And he had long hair. And she said, you got to see him. He's so hot, you know. And my wife didn't want to meet him. She was kind of getting out of a divorce. And she was like, she finally said yes, just to shut her up, right? She goes, all right, I'll go meet Chuck. And so she went to the party. And then, so from what she said is that she, you know, looked at Chuck and she's like, you know, there he is. That's the guy. And my wife was like, yeah, he's okay, but who's that guy over there? And she pointed over at me. so she locked eyes with me and she's like, I want to know who that guy is. So she said, she came over and sat next to me, and And she did. She came over. She said she came over to flirt, but she was just talking, and we were just joking and being nice. And I just thought we were just talking. And so that was the first time of us crossing paths.
Wow.
And then I think it was maybe a week later, she ended up asking if we wanted to. Her friend, my guitarist called me and said, "Hey, you want to do a double date thing, right?" And I'm trying to remember how this goes. This is funny because I lived by myself and I was not very clean. I was just a bachelor. I drank a lot of beer. I had beer cans everywhere from the night before, right? We were partying. So it looked like horribly, it was a disaster area. So I think what happened, if I remember correctly, they both stopped by. Him and his girlfriend just stopped by and they go, "Hey, we're going to go out tonight. Do you want to go?" I could see her looking around like, "Oh my God, this place is trashed," But he said, "Hey, do you want to go out? Like, we're going to pick up Tammy, and do you want to go out tonight?" And I went, "Well, yeah, that'd be great." And he go, "Okay, we're going to go get her. We'll be back in about 15 minutes or so." And I go, "Okay." So of course I go, I clean the place up and I get it all kind of like looking nice, right? And so they come back 15, 20 minutes later and I'm ready to go. And we walk in and I guess Tammy's friend, my wife's friend, had looked over at her and went, "This place was trashed. But when we came here 15 minutes ago, it was trashed and it was all spick and span," right? So she knew she was special at that point. I was like, I actually cleaned the place for her, you know what I mean? Because I cared about what she thought, I didn't want her to think I was a slob. So yeah, so that was kind of the first. We went out and had a really good time, and that was our first time together, and that's how we kind of crossed paths. Yeah, that was one. I don't think I've ever cleaned a room that quick. That was, garbage bag and arm, just into the, get it all into there, wipe everything down, and then go, "Come on in," and like it was always that way.
Amazing. Next question.
Yeah.
Hey, next question for you is, if you could meet yourself when you were 15 years old again, which advice would you give to yourself at the time?
I would probably give the advice to, I would probably, one of the biggest things I think I've learned over the years, I always felt like I wasn't doing enough or it wasn't good enough. And I need to do more, whether that was to further my career, which I think a lot of us do, right? I need to work harder. I need to earn more money. I need to, do that. And being in music, it was one, I got to make it to that record deal. I got to get more people, get more fans, I always do more. And it was really, and that's an anxiety thing of fear, right? You're afraid you're not doing enough. And I think that would be my advice, is to rid yourself of that fear and enjoy the ride more, because, enjoying the moment of what you're doing is enough. Just being alive and being in the moment and being whatever you are, whether it's productive or unproductive in somebody else's eyes or not. So I think that would have been, to me, to stay out of that anxiety phase and just kind of be happy and just keep plugging along, do what you do, but quit worrying about it so much,
Saying that, Tony, when you think about yourself, when you analyze yourself, what's the biggest joy of being you? What do you like the most about being Tony?
Oh God, I don't know. I don't know if that's something that I could look at, because I'm kind of critical of myself. So, and I'm probably the biggest critic of myself. So, I don't know that I could look and just go, "Hey, man, there's this great joy about being me," because I just try to be who I am. And I try to be considerate, and I love life, and I love all life and energy. And I think everything's, I go and rescue bugs out of my pool. Like when there's a bee drowning, I like throw it like a stick. Come on, grab onto it. I mean, I just love being alive. So, I just enjoy everything that I can. So I don't know.
And you always been this way, this positive way of approaching life?
I think so. I think when I had the anxiety that I had explained to you, I got a little aggravated at times. So sometimes I was on edge, and I went through a phase of using alcohol. The alcohol I got really happy on. That was kind of a good. Not everybody liked it, but I sure did. I was happy. I'm not a mean drunk, but I think some of the things make you, especially when you come down, you go, "God, I need some more," and you kind of get into this roar. But yeah, I think my whole outlook of, I always remember being grateful just for being alive. Just for Sometimes I'd walk down the road and I didn't have any money. I only had enough to get a beer. I remember walking home from, because I took the bus from work and I got off the bus stop, went home, and I only had a couple bucks, but I had enough to get some lunch meat and a tall beer, Budweiser. And I was like, this is great. Thank you. You know, I was so thankful just to, and I remember thinking just, I'm very grateful just to be breathing and being healthy and being alive, being able to walk down the road and enjoy this. So yeah, I think I always just had that attitude of being grateful.
Amazing. Next question. Let's do it.
I like that.
Before the next question, Tony, tell me what's the biggest joy of being a musician? Yeah, when you are doing your talent, when you are performing, when you are, you know, having the best of yourself. Tell me what's the biggest joy of it, and the flip side. What do you find most challenging about your career?
I think the biggest joy, and there's probably a couple of different tiers of it. So I'll say number one for me is, it's the feeling that I get. It's kind of a high almost, but it's from watching the crowds enjoy what I'm doing. Now, when I see the faces of them going, you know, I can't believe he just said that. I can't believe he just sang that. I can't believe he just did that. Whatever it would be. I love seeing that. And I try to comment on that. I'm like, I just love seeing all your smiling faces right now. It's like what just makes me light up. So I get a rush from them, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a give-take thing between that. So I love that. And then I love the feeling of just being involved in the song and singing or playing guitar or whatever that is. You've seen when the guitarist closes his eyes and just plays the notes and feels it more than anything. That is a moment that's magical. So I'd say that's number two. And those kind of go together, right? Because I'm up there playing and singing into that moment and then watching them enjoy that. So it's just a beautiful experience, I think, you know. A difficult part of that is being a singer or a vocalist is keeping the vocals, you know, the instrument to be able to perform all the time. So if I'm having a rough night, or, you know, you might wake up with a sore throat and I'm going, oh, and I worry, oh shit, am I going to be able to sing tonight? And it's kind of like having a broken finger and you have to perform with a broken finger, is like, it's not going to be 100%. So I worry about that all the time. So that's a difficult one, is keeping that, you know, a guitar, you just put on new strings and you hit that note. It always sounds good. You know, it's a little bit easier. So that's, excuse me, that's a difficult part of it. And then the whole business part of it in general, there's this little moment that I just described, which is the beauty of it all. And then getting into the business side of it is a whole underside of the iceberg that is really, can be nasty, can be full of ego, it ruins people sometimes. And there's some really bad things that happen. There's a dark side to it. And I never wanted to hear that. I mean, I read books and it was right off the bat. I remember this book I bought about the music business. And the first paragraph in it said, the music business is a nasty, egotistical, dark business to get into. And then it has a dark side. So It was actually like, you mean it gets worse than that? And so, yeah, there's some parts in there that are really, you know, musicians sometimes argue, management rips off their clients, record labels are making all the money and the artist doesn't get any money, but the artist loves to do music. So you do it and you know you're getting ripped off. And that's why they take advantage of musicians, because they can make a lot of money off the guy that, I just want to play music. So there's a lot of that to navigate through that I don't care for. And that's why most musicians or artists will have a manager to do that for them.
Right.
You know, which deals with the business end, and then the manager ends up ripping them off anyway. So, you know, so that's the crazy part of it.
Okay. Next question is, what's something that not many people know about you?
That not many people know about me?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I kind of talk about everything. I don't know that, you know, I used to do live videos all the time, and I would call it Tony TV, and I just get on and just do a live and just start talking about everything and show everybody everything that I have. Look, I just got this today. There's proof. There's proof that Tony has a heart, right? This is Tony Stark's heart, but I have it now, and now I can. Oh, that's the wrong one. I had something set up that was going to work nicely, but it didn't. Let's see. There we go. So I
Oh, wow. Oops.
have my Iron Man heart that I just broke. Now I have a broken heart. Anyway, I would always do that. I would show everybody my little knickknacks or whatever I got for the day. And what would be something that somebody doesn't know about me? I really don't know. I guess I would have to ask. Like they would have to because I think I talk about almost everything. I'm sure there's something.
Okay, so I'm gonna I've seen some tattoos in your body, so I'm gonna ask a question for you. Tell me which one is your very first one you ever had, which one is the latest one, and the third one is which one is the most meaningful one?
I have one on the middle of my back that I got, and it's a Libra sign for the zodiac. So I'm a Libra, born October 13th. So I had that one put in first, and it was just the sign on my back with a chrome look. And then I went from that one to this one actually, which is it's from Treasure Planet, Captain John Long Silver. So I was at Disneyland a long time ago, and I happened to see the statue of this, and it was just small, about that big, and it was sitting behind glass, and I went, oh, that is so cool, and I love that character. So I took a picture of him, and he was doing that, and I just thought he looks like he's grabbing the world, trying to grab the world by the balls or whatever. So I thought that was really cool. So I sketched it up then, because I'm an artist as well. I draw and paint and do all that, graphic design as well, and video editing and animation. But so I drew that up, and then I had a tattoo artist do that one. So that was number 2. And then I added to it. I put the flag wasn't there, so I added the flag. And then there's a ship around the back, the boat from the movie. So I added a bunch of stuff onto that. So those are my first 2.
And the most meaningful one?
The most meaningful one, I'd have to say I have a few that I have to take off my jewelry for, but I have this one that is Roman numeral right here. And it says TNT, and that's my wife, Tony and Tammy. That's myself and my wife. And then that's our date that we were married. Okay. Oh. So we both have that matching. My son drew this, which is the Punisher. He has a little gun in his hand right there, and he has a skull on his shirt. But he drew this when he was just a little boy. So I said, I'm going to tattoo that on so I can remember that forever. And then this is my other one that means a lot. And my son has this exact same tattoo, and he was 16 when he got his first one. We let him get his first, right? And then I think he went into 17, and he wanted to get another tattoo. And he goes, I'm thinking about getting another one. And I go, no, not until you're 18. And he goes, why don't we get matching tattoos? And I'm like,
okay.
You little shit. Yeah. Yeah. I go, good move. God, you're smart. Okay, let's do it. So I let him. So he got it at 17. So those are matching for me and him. And I love that one too. So
beautiful. Okay. 3 questions left. Let's do it.
Wow. They're going so fast.
It means you're enjoying. Before the next question, Tony, tell me 3 names of 3 artists that you always be inspired by. 3 names.
3 names? Oh, God, that's narrowing it down because there's so many great ones. I do have to say that, David Lee Roth, definitely, he was one that blew me away just as a showman, and just an awesome front man. So that blows me away. God, I mean, I love what Michael Jackson did all the way around, from beginning to end, and what an amazing voice and talent. Yeah. Lyricist, writing, his music, his videos, cutting edge, his halftime performance. Nobody ever did anything like that. So he's just cutting edge all the way. I mean, all the way around, just an amazing artist. And then you can lump Prince in there too. I mean, there's so many of them. And then, so that's in that realm. And then, in rock, I just love all kinds of vocalists. I love guitarists too, but I looked at a lot like Sebastian Bach, Queensryche, Jeff Tate was somebody, his voice is phenomenal, blew me away. Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, all of those vocalists kind of blew me away, But also my first influential, I do have to throw Frankie Valli in the mix, because my dad was listening to Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons, and I stole his albums and I'd go play them and then try to sing like Frankie Valli. So I think that's probably the very, very beginning
I see.
of any of it. So, but I could go on a huge list, of
Okay,
influential artists because there's so many throughout the years.
so let's pretend that all of them, they are still with us, still here. Michael Jackson, Prince, and the first one you mentioned, what's the name? The first one?
David Lee Roth from Van Halen.
Okay, so three of them. Michael Jackson, Prince, and this one, just mentioned right now. One day you're gonna wake up in the morning with 3 missed calls on your phone. From those 3 you just mentioned right now, which one you call back straight away? Which one you send a message, I call you back later, and the third one you don't call, you don't send a message, you just go like, I can talk to him another time. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's tough. I would have to say Michael. I got to call right back.
Ooh.
Michael, him and Prince, and I love David Lee Roth from Van Halen, but yeah, I think he could probably wait, just because he seems like, I don't know, when he, I don't know him at all, but I see from the interviews and he looks totally interesting to talk to. I want to talk to him, but at the same time, I would have to wonder if Michael would call me back. I would have to call him right away. I think David Lee Roth would. He would call me back. Like, I'd be like, hey man, and I don't think there's any of them that I could say I wouldn't call back. I mean, not out of the guys that I like. There's some other musicians that I could put on the list that I don't really care for, or I think they seem like assholes. But I mean, those 3 guys, it would be hard to say. But I think I would go Michael, and I would definitely go Prince next. Hey, I got to call you right back, which I'd hate to even do that to him. But that's where that would go. That's a good question, man.
Okay. Next question.
That's funny.
What does money mean to you?
Money means you have a means to buy things, pay your way. Right now, it's kind of the monetary system that we have, so you kind of need it. It's nice to have. My wife is like, I always tell my wife, like, money isn't everything, and money doesn't make you happy. It's not where true happiness comes from. She goes, yeah, but you can buy a lot of stuff that makes you happy. And I go, that's true. But I think at the end of the day, material items are, no matter what you have, you can love something, but it becomes, you get a new car and then you get used to it after a while, and it's not as new and fresh, and then you want another new car because, ooh, that one's better. Guitars are a little different. You kind of keep those, and I still love them. You know what I mean? So I think musical instruments are different, but everything else is kind of like, you can buy, you always want more or something new and fresh, but it's great to have. But I don't think it's number one in life. So I guess it's just a way to pay your way. And it's nice to have and to be comfortable, to live comfortably.
Amazing. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Next question is...
I should have had some dance moves ready for this one.
Next question is, do you think your priorities have changed since you're younger?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Well, I think, money was a big thing. I think especially when I met my wife, because I wanted to provide for the family, right? You want to make her happy, and ladies love money, don't they? So, I wanted to make a lot of money. I'm going to buy you a mansion and a new car. And that was kind of the goal, for a lot of that. And when you're younger, I really find, especially if you're in music or even in film, which I'm an actor as well, and I'm a filmmaker too. I don't know if you knew that. And it's, you have there's this thing, and all of the stars and mostly movie stars talk about it. They go, the whole fame thing and popularity is just all BS. So I find that as a bargaining chip for the people in the business. They go, hey, I'll put your name in lights. Everybody's going to know your name. You're going to be all over the billboards. And you go, and then here, sign on the dotted line. And then they take advantage of you, right? You don't care what you're getting paid, or you don't care the deal you made. So that's true with musicians too. I don't care. I just want to, and that's kind of filling maybe a need to be verification. You know what I mean? I have to, wow, I'm really something now because everybody knows who I am. So that fills kind of it. And it's kind of an empty void to fill, even after filled. It's kind of like, it doesn't mean anything. And I think that I've learned over the years that you got to love yourself, and And I tell my son this because my son is 21. He's a musician. We all want to put out a song and we want to get 1 million views or streams, right? Because that means something. And so I keep telling him, but that's not really what it might mean something if you want to make money doing that, but it doesn't mean you're good or bad. It doesn't really verify or not of who you are, what you're about, how talented you are. If you're good at writing songs or good at acting or whatever it is, that really doesn't have any play in it. It's about doing it because you love to do it. And
Totally.
being a part of that, if you're able to be a part of a band or in a film, you just enjoy that, because that's what's happening right now at the moment. That's what's important, is that you're involved in that. And that's where I've changed over the years. I'm grateful to be a part of anything. If I'm acting in a film, and I know she had Sean Berube on, and
Yeah.
he's a buddy of mine, and he asked me to be in some films, and I had him. We did music videos together and all kinds of stuff. But he asked me to be an extra in a couple films, and I'm like, hell yeah, sign me up. So I get to hang out with him and be in some scenes with him, and so I'm just grateful. And I wasn't the lead role, and I didn't have a speaking role, but it was just fun to be a part of it. So
Totally.
I think my view is completely changed on that from being younger, when I was just, you want it all and want to take the whole world over, and now I'm just happy to, be a part of whatever's happening.
Amazing. I love that. I think it's being open-minded, you just need to explore life, navigate through life, opportunities come along, just need to take it, you know what I mean? Because you never know what can take you. So I think it's amazing for us to be open-minded about it. Totally understand your point, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the best, because I mean, something could happen at any moment. And I always think of like Chris Reeve, Superman, who played Superman, and then he got into that horse accident, and he was in a chair. It just changed his life forever. And it's like,
I know.
enjoy what's happening right now and be grateful for whatever that is, because it always could get worse or be worse. So it's, that's something can't take it for granted.
Amazing. Last question. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Last one. I felt like you're dancing Vogue by Madonna.
Yeah. Vogue. Yeah, I was doing, what's that dance they used to do in the 50s? And then they go like they're drowning,
Before the last question, Tony, tell me what music has taught you.
Music. I think it's just like it's an art form or expression, and I think it's just, I don't know if it's taught me that or it's just something that comes out of me, and it just happens, and I really enjoy it. I've learned a lot. I mean, I have learned how to navigate through music and where notes, certain, theories go, and how to harmonize and how to do a lot of this. But I think if anything, it's taught me how to be put on a show. I guess is all I could really say. Like, to get up and actually put on a show is different from being in a room talking to people. And to get up there and actually script a show from beginning to end, I probably would have never done unless I was doing music, the way that I do. So it's taught me a lot. As far as, then I made my own costumes, which, I probably would have done that in acting anyway, or filmmaking. But, I made my costumes. I got lighting together. I got, figured out how to do sound, and I used to set up my own sound at times. But really, being a front man and being able to talk to people and construct a show and keep it flowing and keep them entertained is probably the biggest thing that I've learned, from the music, the whole music thing.
Amazing. Okay, last question is, describe yourself in one positive and one negative word only.
Optimistic. It would be the positive one.
Okay.
All I can really say, because I just look forward. Everything is like, it's not glass half full or half empty. Like, the glass is too big. If you had a smaller glass, it would be full, right?
I like it.
There's plenty of liquid in there. We just need a smaller. Give me a shot glass, and we'll have 3 drinks. I don't know. So that's that word. And then in a negative one, I don't know. I don't know what a negative one. Describing myself negatively, I don't even like to do that. All I can really say is, in a negative way, mortal.
Okay.
I wish I could live forever. So the negative part of it is I need to die at some point. So I don't know. That's a negative. I
I
don't know
like
what else
that.
to say.
I like that. Amazing. Okay, so the
I'd
NTS,
rather be immortal. You know what I mean? Superhero.
forever young, I don't be forever young. You know what I mean? Immortal
Yeah.
and forever young.
Yeah. Gonna be forever young.
Right, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Oh gosh. Okay.
Let's start with money. One word.
Bye.
Fear.
Get rid of it.
Family.
I know that's many words. Family, love.
Life.
Love it.
One word for religion.
Different views. I have to put in two different ones.
One word for love.
One word for love? I was going to say either vibration or frequency.
I like that. Sex.
Inventive. Let's get inventive. Let's invent something new.
Politics.
Sucks.
Friendship.
Needed.
Desire.
Not needed.
Regrets.
None.
Success.
In the eye of the beholder.
Wow, I like that. Wish.
More than three, please.
Happiness.
Vital.
One word for Phoenix.
For Phoenix? Friggin' hot. It's hot. It's damn hot. So.
One word for USA.
For USA, I just would have to say home, I think. And Phoenix is home too.
One word for music.
I got to put love because I love music.
Wow. And the last one now, musician, one word.
That one's interesting. Just any old musician. Just anybody. Just a musician. That's probably vital too. You probably need music. We need music. I'll say vital. Very much needed.
Tell me,
great. I love that.
If I would meet your wife for a coffee right now, and I'm gonna ask her, what's the most beautiful thing about Tony? What's something about him that people always comment, that people always, talk about? What should say?
What she would say? Oh my God, you want me to bring her in here? Hey! You'd have to ask her that. What people would always say, all I can really say about that is from what she tells me is, I get a lot of compliments. She gets a lot of compliments when I'm playing and she's at the show. So when I put on a show, I know that I try to bring people into the show. I care about people. I try to make them laugh. I run out into the crowd and give the microphone. I let them sing, because I want them to leave and have a good time. Not necessarily about me. I just want them to walk out going, holy, that was so much fun. Let's go back to another, let's have fun. That's what it's all about for me. So I would just say, I think she feels the same, because she's like, if she needs something done, I stop and I'll go and do it. Doesn't matter what it is. Hey, the light bulb is burned out. She doesn't even have to ask me. I go over and I change the light bulb. Or, oh, I'm hungry. I'll go get something to eat, So I just make sure that I take care of her. So I think it's taking care of people, caring about people,
Wow.
I try to do that. And that's something I consciously, I kind of normally do it, but I also try to be conscious about doing that, making sure people are happy, because I love being happy. And I think everybody should be happy. And so if I can make somebody a little happier by touching their day or crossing paths with them somehow, then that makes me feel good. So
Beautiful. I like that, Son. I think it's just talking to you. I've been talking to you for the last half an hour, 45 minutes, and I can feel that. I think people, you come across this very approachable person that people just, if they feel like something, they just come to you because they know they're gonna find a comfort, they're gonna find something there. So I understand your point for sure. Great.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You seem like that as
Let's
well. You
play
got
now.
a huge smile on your face, and you got that look in your eye of happiness as well. Like very approachable. So, and
Oh, thank you.
this is something great that I look at too, because like we never met. We're doing an interview here. We're crossing paths.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
touching my life somehow, or how I feel. I'm having a great time here. You're making me feel
Totally.
good and smiling, and hopefully it's vice versa. And that's kind of just, I think, the whole thing about life is about. You just never know who you're going to cross paths with. So you just try to make it an
Totally.
experience. Because it matters. For each other.
Let's play now, Tony, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question.
I'm doing the lasso and dance and pull you in. Okay. I wasn't done. Sorry.
It's okay. Before you ask me the question, tell me a moment in your career that you're never gonna forget. For one reason or another, you always gonna remember.
A moment in my career. Oh, as far as a music or a gig or something, I think the coolest one so far. That I mean, there's lots of individual ones. If we're talking about clout, as far as like stars or somebody meeting some of the idols, that's different from other moments that have happened, because I've had people that this one guy brought me some moonshine that he made with a peach in it, and he waited till my band came back to town to give it to me, and he was scared to give it to me, and I saw him over in the corner, and he came over to give it to me. He just went, I saw him, he finally got the guts, and he walked up to me, and then he tripped over a monitor that was on the floor, because we were playing a small bar. He fell and rolled right in front of me, and I went, holy, and he popped back up real quick, and he went, hey sir, he was like very nervous. I made this for you. And I go, are you okay? Oh my God. But I felt so bad that he had tripped, but but he was so cool to, like, he made this for me
Wow.
and
Wow.
brought this. He waited for me to come to town to give this to me. So I had that with like many a different little gifts. And I had one girl actually
Amazing.
she sketched a picture of me and then printed it out on this canvas and then sent it to me. And it's actually really huge. And I was like, I don't know where I'm going to put that. Those things are really special to me, like from everybody.
Oh,
So I have so many moments like that. I can't even it would take me forever to tell you about all of them. But the coolest moment for me in being in music and meeting people, I'll try to go through a few of them, because I don't think one would really cut it. But I won in 2005. I won a contest that is called Proof is in the Pudding, and Alice Cooper lives here in Phoenix, and it was at Alice Cooper's town in Solid Rock, which is what the religious group that he's associated with. So in 2005, my band won that, and we were able to play his Christmas show, which was called Celebrity Theater, which is a pretty big venue here. So we got one song, and we got to hang out backstage with all of them. Alice Cooper, the Tubes, Styx was there, so Tommy Shaw, Tesla was there. So we're in the room with all these rock stars, and I'm like, I feel like I don't belong with these guys. This is crazy, but they were all so nice and so cool. And Alice was the coolest. Just very humble, and hey, how you doing, and welcoming, and hey, there's food over there. Come over here and get some food. So what an
wow.
experience to be in that show with that caliber of people, and to be
Oh,
able to play on the stage. And then at the very end of the stage, I ran out there with everybody, because everybody got on the stage and did a Christmas song, and I played the
amazing.
tambourine, and I have pictures of all of that. So that was really a cool experience for me.
Amazing. Great.
So that's very fun. And then I have one that I have to plug, actually. I'm playing in Vegas on the 29th of this month, with
Oh,
Raiding the Rock Vault, which is some name players as well, and they do a Vegas show. I've been watching them for 10 years. I tried to get in with them singing it like almost 10 years ago. It has to be 8 years, and it didn't work out. So I kind of just went, oh well, it's not meant to be. And then I ran into him on the Monsters Rock cruise, the keyboard player. He plays for Alda Nova now. And we go, holy shit, I haven't seen you in forever. And he goes, you know what? I might need a vocalist for the 29th. Do you think you could do it? And I go, hell yes. So I'm looking very forward to the Las Vegas show. to doing a show with
Wow.
these guys, and the way they put together the show is really cool. So there could
Um,
be more moments in the future for me. See the optimistic part of me. That's what I'm talking about.
I love that.
Okay, so my question to you would be: we talked about it. I don't know what you do for a living, but first of all, I'd like to know what was your first, like, before you're on the path that you're in now, like when you were way little, what was your career that you were looking at doing? Like maybe it was an astronaut, or I want to be a policeman or a firefighter. What was it that turned you, that moment, like what turned me when I saw David Van Halen? What was it that turned you? What was that moment? And then what are you doing today as far as like your career? And I don't know, this might be it. And if it's not, if this is not it, then what spawned you to do this? I know it's a lot of
Wow.
questions, but
Amazing. No, you know what? I'm gonna share a story with you that it happened to me when I was maybe 6, 7 years old. So my teacher, she gave us uh, a questionnaire, like questions, like random questions for us to fill up. Yeah, we feel like very random questions. And there was a question there that was like, what would you like to be when you grow up? Yeah.
yeah.
Guess what I wrote? I wrote,
I was going to be an interviewer.
I wrote
You
there,
better not say that.
I wrote there, Michael Jackson.
Oh
And
man.
yeah, and I gave back, of course. So next day she collects all the, from everyone for the students. And next day, I think she kind of, she had a look at all of them during the night. And the next day she called me her desk and she was like, William, did you understand this question? And I was like, yes, I did. And she was, why did you put Michael Jackson? And I said, because I'd like to be Michael Jackson one day. And she was like, but Michael Jackson's not a profession. And I was like, no, I want to be Michael Jackson when I grow up. And I think, I don't remember like much details about it, but I remember my mom talking to me at home as well. And I remember like I have this vague memory of my mom trying to explain to me that I could be a singer, I could be a dancer, I could be a performer, because Michael Jackson was that. But I remember
Right.
saying, no, 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 I want to be Michael Jackson when I grow up. So I think I never remember that. I never forget that, because it was a moment that I always, I think that's what children, they have this intuition about, being something in their lives that they don't even understand about it. But growing up, I always want to be an actor, a dancer. I want to be, I knew I couldn't sing, but even a singer as well, I would like to be. So I, growing up, I always had this vision of being on a stage, doing something, could be doing anything. So I always had, even a ballet dancer as well. I remember like growing up, I loved ballet and I couldn't, because I was living in a very small town, very small, that we didn't have much, arts and everything. So I always be involved, I remember dancing like, my God, I think it's funny because nowadays, okay, so now what I'm doing right now, I'm literally, I work, as a receptionist in a investment company. But I think the magic box for me, what I like the most about the show, it's because, all of these things that I want to be growing up, I think it brought here to this show right now, because I'm here. I'm in connect with people. I'm dancing. You know what I mean? It's a place for me that I'm meant to be. You know what I mean, Tony? I think
Right.
here, the Magic Box. It's a show that it was written there. This show is gonna be for William, because I feel the greatest here. Guess what? You're having the best of me right now. That's the best William people can have when I'm here doing the interviews, because I feel the greatest when I'm here. And it's something that I'm working really hard, because I have other projects as well that would like to expand, connect with the Magic Box, and I would like to, to monetize my channel. I'm working really hard for it, because it's something that it meant to be for me. And I'm very grateful every single day when I'm sitting here for interviews, because it's the best of me that comes along. So yeah, that's something, I've done a lot in my life. I've done so many jobs in my life, which I love them. I love it. And I still love, I think, it's about you learning about yourself, you learning different things in life. However, that's the place where I'm meant to be. And I love that. So yeah, that's my answer for you.
No, that's great. Great answer. That's good. And congratulations on doing what you're, I mean, it sounds like this is a huge passion for you.
Totally,
You know,
100%.
which doing your passions are that's so important. You know,
100%.
so that you're doing it. Congratulations, that's great.
Thank you. Did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, it was great. Thank you very much, and you as well. You're great at it. You did some great questions, and I love that because you know you get a lot of the same questions on interviewers sometimes. Like, what are you working on now? What's your website? Give us your website. It's the same ones every time. So thank you for being very inventive and
Thank
going outside the box, the matchbox.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before we go, Tony, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
You know, I would say that's about it. Is just you got to be happy in the moment. You can't, you know,
Mhm.
worry about what tomorrow's going to be or tomorrow's going to be better. You know, I'm having a bad day today. Maybe tomorrow's better. No, because tomorrow and yesterday are not really what really matters. Is the moment right now. There's no
Totally.
tomorrow already. There's no past. Only in your mind how you want to perceive it. So make yourself happy. And the way to do that is doing what you're doing. You're doing your passion here.
Yeah.
Is if you're not happy with your job or you're not happy in the moment of what you're doing, you have to change that. You have to go for, doesn't matter the outcome. Doesn't matter what it looks like in the future. Oh, this
Totally.
might not lead me to the better job. Who gives about that? As long as you're happy doing it in the moment and that is what your memory is going to record, then, you know, that's going to be your memory as you being happy at that moment. So
Amazing.
that's all I can really say is just try to make it do your passion and be happy in the moment and what you love to do every day.
Amazing. Very good. And yeah, so send regards to your wife. Wish her a very happy birthday from me. Tell her that I wish all the best for this new year ahead, starting now for her. You know, regards to your kids, to your family and friends, and you keep in touch. Okay, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Okay,
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. And thank you for asking me to do this. I had a great time. Thank you,
amazing.
William.
Take care. Okay, enjoy your day.
All
Take
right.
care.
Have a great, you do the same. Thank you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.